Uganda is a very important customer to Kenya. If I'm now hearing President Museveni saying, and these other items, why don't you build all 16,000 primary schools, which are important and the need of uplift. We had somebody mention that. So we had that. Now, Bill Okero. And I know you very well. I know you're a serious economist. Well, you stated the government needs to review taxes, and you've had a good professor say he's working on it. What are the top 5 taxes that, in your view, government should review? Of course, you had Professor Ndungu say if you touch anything, you distort the revenue collection and everything. We are here to convince you, our dear friend, Professor Ndungu, you can review some of these taxes. And instead of having your revenues going down, this is a submission, you will go even to the optimum level. You'll be able to raise so much. Kenyans will willingly give, but not when you have 20, I think, how many items. You'll be hearing from Honorable Eugene Wamalwa on the number of some of those things. And then G to G. This story about Uganda, Davis, did you not think even within the framework of East African community, because whenever ministers of finance of the community present their estimates to Parliament, they do so actually on an agreed date. Therefore, in the spirit of regional integration, Uganda is a very important customer to Kenya. If I'm now hearing President Museveni saying, okay, he's going to borrow your G2G effort, but he's doing it with like a pained situation. Did you consult with Uganda before you went on your G2G arrangements? Those are some of my earlier my comments, and I think, I don't know.
Thank you. I have yeah.
Yeah, we'll hear Hassan and then we can hear Eugene.
Thank you.
To the contrary, Excellency, and I'm a big supporter of the G2G, but just with some minimum qualifications. I just wanted to know, I know that the payment is after the lapse of the 180 days through a staggered system. My question is, at what point does the G2G framework lapse? Now we have to pay the entire sum. And number 2, are the prices hedged by any chance? Because yes, if today the prices are going up, there's a likelihood that they might also go down. I remember when I was sitting in the investigations on Kenya Airways, one of the things that was said to be fatal in the Mawingo plan or in the operations of Kenya Airways was hedging of the fuel prices. So the price is hedged. Number 2, you might not have mentioned it directly, but you had mentioned it somewhere that there were very oppressive PPAs, power purchase agreements, that had been signed by certain producers of electricity. Is it time we bit a bullet and be able to bring some of them to either a close or to termination? And I know that sometimes the worry of governments is always the liabilities that come with that type of drastic action, particularly the fact that we have a very robust court and many investors look at Kenya.
Without interrupting you, Hassan, you're referring to independent power purchasers or producers, right?
Yeah, PPAs.
Because that issue is also, in fact, I wanted Bill Okero also to deal with it, but please continue.
Yeah, so and then I overhear this whole issue about investment here, investment there, investment here. We are building this, we are building that. Will all these investments ultimately bring down the cost of electricity? There is a large allegation that the KPLC is owned by a certain mother of ourselves, and she sells this electricity very punitively to us. So I think if you might be able to address the supply chain, but in terms of now the demand, will you be able to enjoy more affordable electricity or cheap electricity? Hinga, the Excellency will tell you that I've been your biggest proponent here, very passionate about the housing agenda, because it's part of our social contract to give dignity to our people, and I heard you allude to it. You know, the irony is that in Kenya, as we create wealth, we must also bridge the gap to ensure that the dignity of the poor is improved. So we cannot just be saying that we wait for the economy to improve and that's when we start to build houses. We must do both simultaneously or concurrently. But I just wanted you to clarify that this money is not actually for building houses. You're actually facilitating private investors to build these houses. All you're doing is to also to be able to do some bit of market risk, to take up part of the market risk, and number two, to structure affordable mortgages using the housing fund so that you can be able to have more Kenyans access these housing at affordable rates. Rugo, for you, I just had one question. I comment everybody agrees with you. And some of these opaque contracts are those like the Mawingo plan and the KQ. We are paying a certain bank. The Mawingo plan was designed to bring Kenya Airways down to benefit a few people. I think, what do you think is the sustainability of the government of Kenya? Why do you think Professor Ndung'u still has to pay for it when we know where the travesties were? We know who is benefiting. We know who the leader of that criminal enterprise is. Why are we still paying for the liabilities of a single person and a single individual? So I think I wanted to hear from you. What would you advise our government in these very important economic times to do? To keep Kenya Airways paying its debt, or to keep Kenyans a bit more engaged in terms of their day-to-day life issues? The last one, I think I don't have much of a question to Bill. I always read his comments.